This is the sound of a world ending. 2 hours from now, this conflict will go global. In 2 hours, everything will change. 2 hours until midnight. 23:58. The war in Europe is not going well. Despite weeks of fighting, Russian forces have yet to achieve a decisive victory. Troops report movement near the border. Tanks and artillery assemble. Is this it? Is Russia preparing to escalate? As Putin watches, his advisors prepare options for a meeting in 2 hours, time enough to make a fateful decision. Single Iskander missile will be launched toward the outskirts of Lviv. Sirens sound in Pyongyang, Beijing, Washington, and New Delhi. World leaders scramble for their secure sites. Calls are made, messages sent. They know the odds are stacked against them, so in 2 hours they'll play their hand. In the aftermath of this nuclear exchange, billions are dead. Whole countries are wiped off the map. Survivors face a future of scarcity. But what will that be? What do you think the British will do next? Let me know in the comments below. 3:30. Now that the Americans are neutralized, Russian troops sweep through Poland. They reach the border unopposed. 3:35. Inside the Pentagon, generals huddle over maps. They know time is running out. 3:40. Just as Russia expected, the U.S. gives the order to strike. Minute by minute, American aircraft take off. 3:45. And as Russia begins deploying its ballistic missile defenses, the strikes come. Cruise missiles streak toward Russian air bases. Submarines launch Tomahawks at Russian naval facilities. Drones armed with explosives target key command centers. Dozens of missions have been planned in advance. Working together, NATO forces seek to cripple Russian command, control, and communications. Now, Russian air defenses are among the best in the world, but they're not designed for this threat. As missiles approach, defenses are spread thin. S-400 batteries open fire. But it's too little, too late. Explosions rock Russian airfields. Fires rage across the countryside. 3:45. It's all over. American satellites lock onto Russian nuclear sites. Decoys are deployed, but it's futile. 3:50. Russian forces try to scramble interceptors. It's too late. 3:55. America's first strike is a success. America's Minuteman III missiles leave their silos. 3:56. Flying back to safety, Russian bombers dump their payloads. Dozens of nuclear bombs fall toward the U.S. Minutemen fire. Few explode in midair, but most make it to their targets. 3:57. Russia's submarine fleet was too dispersed to launch a coordinated response. It's a few that tried or picked off by American destroyers. As the attacks continue, Russia suffers severe casualties. Their nuclear arsenal is destroyed. Their ability to project power is over. Defenses fail. And within minutes, Russia's nuclear retaliation ends. 3:58. But the Americans didn't need this war to end. As they watch the Russians deploy their remaining ballistic missiles, the U.S. unleashes its final weapon, cyber warfare. The fallout will take hours to arrive, but no country will be spared. 3 o'clock, 5 minutes after the first strike, a new danger emerges. To counter NATO support, Russia must cut off communication to Ukraine. Satellites spy on the region as Russian hackers target Ukrainian systems. Internet services are disabled. Phones are jammed. Cell towers are destroyed. Within hours, Russia will take over the skies. But before that, there's one more thing to do. 3:15. Before the world reacts to the nuclear attack, Russia must preemptively disable NATO forces. Stealth aircraft fly covertly to airfields. Nuclear-proof submarines fire cruise missiles toward their targets. Each one carries a payload of nuclear warheads. As they streak toward their targets at Mach 5, the U.S. activates its early warning system. Something's coming, but the missiles are too fast to intercept. Now the first explosion rocks the Baltic region. Moments later, a second follows, then a third. Dozens of nuclear detonations light up the sky above Europe. 3:20. Poland is gone. Now the U.S. can't get through to London. France has fallen silent. Berlin is dark. Russia's allies are moving against Germany. Soon, the British will retaliate. But it's too late. Both sides now face mutually assured destruction. The Cold War playbook has been followed to the letter. First, strike hard, strike fast. Second, ensure your enemy can't respond. So far, it's working perfectly. But it's about to change. These missiles have a range of 500 kilometers. They carry a nuclear warhead. And while designed to hit fixed targets, they can also saturate an area with multiple small explosions. If the warhead detonates over Lviv, much of the city will be destroyed. The rest will be stuck in a nuclear wasteland for generations. As the order is given, aides rush to ready the site. Technicians double-check targeting data. All the president sees is the clock ticking. 2:57. Soon, the warhead will be moving. There's no turning back. 2:58. And in just 2 more minutes, the world will change. 2:59. It's almost here. A final check of the trajectory, a final prayer. Then the countdown begins. 2:59. 10. 2:59. 9. 2:59. 8. The missile launches. At Mach 10, it's already halfway to its target. It's 2:59. 7. 6. 5. The warhead splits into 3 separate nuclear explosions. Seconds later, a fireball engulfs the city. The mushroom cloud rises slowly. The head of the general staff enters the room. He speaks with urgency, interrupting the discussion. Something's happened. There's been a development outside Lviv. Russian forces have come under heavy fire. Positions are being pushed back. Casualties are rising. The situation is spiraling. On the map, we can see a small green arrow almost invisible on the screen. But this tiny change has massive implications. You see right here, this forest is masking a NATO weapons depot. For weeks, it supplied Ukraine with anti-armor weapons. Russia knows this, but until now, they couldn't get inside. Ukrainian forces guarding the depot are elite. Well-trained, well-equipped. It's taken weeks of heavy fighting just to get close. But now the breakthrough is complete. Russian troops have breached the perimeter. Soon they'll seize the facility. If this happens, thousands of weapons will fall into Ukrainian hands. Within days, the front lines could shift again, rolling back Russian gains. Worst of all, Ukraine would then have the capability to strike deep into Russian territory. For Moscow, this threat is too great to accept. The thought of Kiev striking back at Russian soil is unthinkable. And so in 2 hours, the president will make a fateful decision. But what will that be? Meanwhile, Ukrainian resistance is draining away vital Russian resources. In the past 48 hours alone, Ukraine claims to have destroyed 10 Russian tanks for every one of their own lost. And with each passing day, NATO supplies are flowing in through increasingly shorter supply lines. The longer the fight continues, the worse it gets for Russia. With no end in sight, the Kremlin faces a terrible truth. They may be winning battles, but they're losing the war. As tensions rise in the Situation Room, advisors push for action. 2:56. After hearing these arguments, the president makes his decision. Across the world, sensors have detected the nuclear blast. The United States is holding their cards close to their chest, but the British don't plan to follow the book. But there's nothing anyone can do now, because in 2 hours, the fight is over. Now all there is left is survival.